Here's the next filament we're going to start testing. It's from HQA. It's a PLA filament. And there it's a 1.75 diameter, 1 kilogram reel. And they're recommending 195 to 215 for nozzle temperature. And the bed temperature is plus or minus 35 to 60. So the other PLA we were printing used 30 degrees, seemed pretty well. But so for this one, we'll probably start at 35, I think, and see how that goes. Okay, so here's our temperature tower, pointy temperature tower in OpenSCAD. And we adjusted it for this filament, so it's PLA, so we changed that filament label. And the temperature ratings on the spool said 195 to 215, so I expanded that by 10 degrees in each direction. So we're going to try from 185 to 225. And we start at the hottest temperature at the bottom and work our way up. So we just need to render that. Almost done. All right, it's done. Then we just need to export that to STL. So we'll just call it, we'll call it this, so it's HQA PLA Black. So. All right, so that's it for SCAD, OpenSCAD, and now we'll go over to Simplify 3D and start up a new project for this temperature tower. All right, here we are over in Simplify 3D. So we imported our temperature tower for the HQA PLA Black. So now we're going from 225 to 185. So we edited our process, and I can go look at those settings. So the main thing we have to change for these temperature towers is to create a new profile for whatever PLA we're using, or whatever filament. And then we need to change the temperature of the bed. So on the reel it said from 35 to 60. So we're going to start at 40. We had good luck with the other PLA we used recently, high quality PLA we used recently, with only 30 degrees on the bed. So we'll start at 40, see what happens with that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start at 35. Minimum temperature. We'll update our profile. And then the other thing we have to do is adjust our layers. So remember, you want to print each of these ridges at different temperatures. So bottom layer, we're going to use 215. That's kind of the maximum that the reel recommends. And then our first ridge is at 225, so that's for this layer, all the way down to 185. That's our top layer. So we got all those set up. And then we just have to go to prepare to print. So it's going to take about an hour and a half. It's a pretty tall tower. So we'll just connect to the printer and send this print over, and then we'll switch to the time lapse. Alright, temperature tower is done. So we're going to get in the corner with this spatula. It pops right off. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. So there are some strings. It's like mostly from the top. So up here is no good. Let's see, it's like 215 is pretty good, 210 maybe. Yeah, 210, this is sure is shiny. I think 215 looks better. So 215 was the maximum temperature. I think we were printing the gold ones at 220, so it's not too bad. So
220 on this one added some sagging down there, so I think we'll go with 215 for now and see how it goes. We can make some adjustments later, but all right, that's it for the temperature tower.
All right, so we did our temperature tower and we decided on 215 for our print temperature. Now we're going to do the bed adhesion and cracking test, and this is to test the adhesion to the bed at the bed temperature, which is, we set 35. So I went ahead and set this up, and for a profile I picked the temperature tower profile to start with because it has some of the parameters you want. For example, it has a 35-degree bed temperature. But for the layers, it has all these different temperatures for the tower, which we don't need now. We just want to use 215. So we're going to remove these extra set points. And then we're going to say this is a new profile, which is just the HQA PLA. We're going to assume for now all the HQA PLAs print similarly. That's what happened with the gold, silver, and copper ones we did. So we won't say black for now. All right, so that's our profile now. Everything else should be fine. We don't need a big infill for this project. So. All right, so we're set with this, and then prepare to print, and it takes about 51 minutes. So I'll go ahead and send that over to the printer, and we can switch to the time lapse.
Okay, there's the final result. I see really good layer adhesion. I don't see any gaps. So I think the bed temperature is good. Bed temperature is good. So let's get this off of here. So we're going to use our system. I'll show you the other spatula. This comes with a really long spatula too. So it's a set, small offset spatula and long spatula. So looks anyway, just wiggle it back and forth. There. So the indented letters came out really nice, and the relief letters also came out very good definition. So, all right, that's it for this test. Looking good for our temperature settings. Oh, and I wanted to show you one other thing. So I was a little concerned over here with this straw that when it was feeding from this side of the reel, you might get kind of a big angle. But the way this is set up, it forces the filament to this side, and then even if it's coming down here from the other side, it's going to push it over this side, so it'll always feed smoothly into the machine. So there's enough slack here that hasn't been a problem. So that's great.
All right, so that test is done. Now we're going to do a lot of different kind of prototyping with this black PLA, so I'm going to do this all-in-one test at some point, but it's going to take 3 hours. I don't really want to spend that much time right now, so I'm going to use a different kind of a final test, and it's called Benchy. So this is a pretty famous kind of test that's out there that can be used to check various things, like you can do these arches and some of the details like these holes and things like that. That's a fun little souvenir when you get done. It only takes about an hour to print. So I already set up my process settings to be this profile we've been using. So the temperatures are set up, 35 for the bed and 215 for the extruder. And when we say prepare to print, it's only going to take a little over an hour, so hour and 9 minutes. All right, so we'll do that and switch over to the time lapse.
Alright, Benchy is done. I'm going to try this spatula, see if it'll take it off. We'll have to see the other one. Like that. Oh, popped off. Okay. Let's take a look at it. So, there's a few strings in here. I don't know if you can see those. There is a setting on the Simplify 3D to retract. There's a bunch of there's some strings back here too. It's kind of hard to see with this black. There's some strings between the little post on the back and the blocker there. There's a setting on Simplify 3D that retracts the filament when you're moving. It's normally, the default is it retracts when it's moving from one piece to another, but within a piece it doesn't retract because I think that slows it down. But I did have luck with some other filaments where if I retract on movements even within the dimensions of the piece, it reduces stringing. So I'm going to set that on Simplify 3D. So overall this is good. It printed the arch really well, and the good definition on the smokestack here. And the bottom has some indented text with the name of the company that came up with this benchmark. So, and this curved area here came out really smooth. You can see some lines, but print lines are pretty good. So I'm really happy with that. So we're going to try some other things. It looks like it's printed on the back too, in relief. So we'll do some other printing and see what happens.
Okay, so here's that setting I was talking about. So it's under Advanced. So this is our profile for our HQA PLA. And it says only retract when crossing open spaces. So that means in between parts. So if we uncheck this, and when it's moving within the part, it will retract the filament, and that cuts down on stringing. At least that's been my experience. So I'm going to save that and update this profile to use that. That's my trick for this. I'm not going to print it again because I printed out well enough that I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so that's Benchy, and we'll probably be printing him again in the future because he's fun.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Post a comment if you have any questions or ideas, and I'll try to respond. That's all for now, but more videos are coming, and if you want to see them, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification icon if you don't want to miss one. This is Beta Cygni signing out, and keep looking up.